get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Maybe a little later. Not really on me. Good band, huh? They have good bands here. Good musicians. I think they want to be Rush. Today's Tom Sawyer type of vibe. Good morning, folks. It is Wednesday, Hump Day, January 31st, 2023, the last day of the worst month of the year. Looking forward. We have about 50 days till springtime. Begin by saying congratulations to Willie and Danica. This show got off to a rousing start last night, and we hope it only grows from there. If you missed it, A Lord and His Lady airs 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, Tuesday nights. They'll be back next week with guns and knives to kill each other on screen live. I'm lying. I'm always lying. I'm going to lie throughout this show today. But here's something that's not a lie. And we have two comedians today, one from Ireland who moved to New York in 2018, and another from Canada. Both of them have names that I'm going to mess up. That's what I do. Yesterday, and this is the life. Well, let me back up. I told you about Sunday, how I had a gig where I bombed. I knew I bombed. People didn't tell me I bombed. By the way, what really went over on Sunday were original songs. And one song in particular, I want to talk about it at some point in this endless, meaningless, meandering diatribe that I'm delivering here. So I bombed, and I absolutely, on the way home, talking to myself, depressed, not feeling good. And this is what happens when you bomb. And if you don't know about the life of an entertainer, when it goes good, the drive home is great. And you still talk to yourself, but you say happy things on the way home. When it doesn't go good, you say things to yourself that are really terrible. I mean, I do anyway. I really put myself down and buy into it and just like, I don't deserve to live. So yesterday, I had a really good two really good shows. Played for two great audiences, and it was wonderful, really wonderful. And I was driving home on a natural high, not a marijuana high or any other kind of high, a natural high. And about 10 minutes into the drive, even in traffic, I was still happy. In New York traffic, got a text from a friend, Jeremy. He said, "Hey, dog, did you hear the news? Question mark. Lee." Boy. So I said, no, I'm driving right now. Are you telling me he died? And as soon as I said those words into the voice for text, I realized he killed himself. And Jeremy wrote back almost an hour later, and I'm still in traffic. He said, "Yes, by his own hand." And I wrote back, I took that for granted. I knew Lee for 20 years. And apparently, I'm the only one who realized this about him. He was prone to depression. He was a very moody guy. Let me bring up Lee here. Uh, is a very moody guy and prone to depression and suicidal ideation. He reminds me a lot of Willie, or reminded me a lot of Willie. Um, and every time I would try to talk him into moderation from his highs, he would take that as trying to bring him down and bring him into a low. And I just wanted him not to get too high because the crash after that high is always extremely low. And I recognize that in him. I mean, he's a good man, really good man. If I have to be completely honest about Ali, this is how I would characterize him as a talent. Say he's a good singer, fabulous, really excellent, unique guitar player, and a competent writer. But he was always hungry for recognition. The very first conversation I had with him, I remember him asking me how many Grammys I had. And I remember him throughout the 20 years that I knew him really wanting a Grammy, going out of his way to get nominated for Grammys. It meant everything to him that people would recognize him. Now, I should say that Lee was not in show business. He wasn't phony. He was completely authentic. He wasn't in show business. He was in the music business, a blues man, and failed to understand, or failed, couldn't understand that the blues is not a popular genre. I mean, there are lots of people who say they're into the blues, but they're into Albert King and the old blues. Nobody's looking for new blues. And so recognition is probably not going to come with when you're being as authentic and real as he was being and put himself out there to be. Saturday night, he had an acoustic gig. And apparently, on the way home from that gig, he took his own life. And I understand that, man. As somebody I'm just thinking. My wife said, what were the triggers? There were a lot of things going on, a lot of things with Lee. But as I mentioned, he was prone to depression, and apparently, people who were really close to him did not know this. They're all over social media saying they're shocked. I wasn't shocked. I knew it was coming. I knew it was the only way out. He's 54 years old. Or was 54 years old. And I remember him having a conversation with him. Might have been on this program. He has been on the program. About my documentary saying, I was certain I was going to die at 54. And he said, yeah, that's about my number. But it was always clear in every one of our conversations, the only way he was leaving this ride of life was by his own hand. It was always clear to me. So it's bizarre that the people who were closest to him are shocked by it. I was not shocked. But I have to say, my initial reaction was I expected it. I knew it was happening. It didn't feel like immediate sadness or grief. It felt like I got zapped with a stun gun and just was like taken back by it. But grief is still going to elude me for a little bit because it still hasn't settled in that he's gone. It's just the fact that I expected this from him. And that's a sad place to be. And I always knew there was nothing I would be able to do when it happened. And I knew the time was coming. It's a really bummer of a situation. And I guess the moral here, if there's any moral, is just keep reaching out to those people. Listen, I hate to think it was a bad gig that fucked him up, but it could have been. But it could be a lot of things. Listen, he had a lot going on in his life. But again, hungry for recognition for his talent. which was really elusive because he chose to be in an authentic artist. And in authentic art, I think you have to come to the realization that you are limiting your audience, your potential audience, and recognition might never come. Well, that's my little diatribe here. Rest in peace, Lee Del Rey. Scranton, Pennsylvania's greatest blues man. We'll see you on the other side, man. Okay. Speaking of Lord and His Lady last night was a great first toe in the water for a live stream. Very entertaining couple. My first impression was, oh my God, this is everything anybody ever tuned into reality TV or daytime TV with the talking heads of like Maury Povich and Jerry Springer and Sally Jesse Raphael, Phil Donahue, you name them, Oprah. Let's get under the covers and see real. You want to talk about reality. And reality, man, I knew Willie's stories. I've known Willie's story for 3 years now. But holy fuck. That's all I got to say. Holy fuck. And then we're just beginning to scratch the surface. So tune in next Tuesday night, Lord and His Lady. We will be getting the facility to stream live to their Facebook page. Facebook makes you wait like 3 weeks or something to be able to stream live to the Facebook page. I don't know why. So last night was on my Facebook page, but it was also on YouTube and Rumble and Twitch and Twitter and every other place that we go to. But I think by next week, because I set up the look at him waving around. I'm seeing myself 5 seconds ago waving my hands around over there. I think by next week, because I set it up 3 weeks ago or something, it will be able to stream live on the Lord and His Lady. I keep saying the Lord, which is a whole different person. A Lord and his Lady Facebook page next week. Anyway, here is the aforementioned King, Mr. Meme himself. Good morning, the man, the myth, the legend, the Lord. And good morning, GD, as well. I should not discount you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay. Discounted since 1863.
Oh my God.
GD Fenderson, 3/5 of a host. If your cup is as empty, if your Sunday is as empty as my cup, please join the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll every Sunday morning. The Church of Last Resort, streaming live wherever you can find them, not dead.
Yeah, 3/5 of a co-host.
The 3/5 of a co-host.
Okay, that's better. Don't be giving yourself a promotion here. Yeah, good morning, fellas. Now, GD, did you catch a little bit of the show or no? You didn't get any of it?
No, I was occupied.
Yeah.
You think yeah, I know you were gigging, but I thought maybe you'd come home and just catch a few minutes of it. Let me just tell you, you think you know Willie?
No, I
you
don't.
think you know Willie's story? A little bit of it.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Well, let's put it this way. I only know his side of what I've heard. I've never heard her version of it.
That's a fair point.
It's like, but you also know like this much of my side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'm just saying what I've heard from you. I've only heard your version and your side. I have not heard her take on.
But what he's saying is you've only heard that much of his version of his side because there's a whole lot more.
What he's saying to me is what he said to a lot of girls in high school, just a tip.
Yeah, just a tip. Right.
So I'm not, and I'm not interested in the shaft right now. Thank you. The tip is enough.
You know what? We're off to a rousing start because we're coming up to 15 minutes because of my long diatribe about my eulogy for Lee. But first guest is already about to be in stiff territory. And 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Moshera is missing in action. Typical
the Irish guy.
Yeah, that's the Irish guy.
Matt, can I ask you a question real quick?
You can ask me a question real slow.
Okay. Do you have a Tascam Porter 1?
Do I?
A
Is
what?
that it? No, that's a R10. No, I don't have the Porter 1.
The reason why I ask is because I had one. I have one still, and and back like you, I wrote a lot of songs, but I wrote a lot of songs on the Tascam. So I have like a stack of cassettes of songs that are unmixed. Like 7 channels
Oh,
that I
yeah.
can only listen to on the Tascam, and I have yet to like try to put them into my computer. Now, I was just wondering if you had already gone through that. And I was just looking for a shortcut from the long, because the long way is I'm going to have to just play each one track by track into my computer.
That's what you're gonna have to do.
And I
No,
didn't know if you found like a piece of software or
I have a piece of
like
hardware if you want to come and get it.
hey
If you want,
hey, I don't swing like that.
but that R16, which is Tascam, you could plug all the direct ins and outs from the other one and just play it and not really have to listen to it and do it all at once, like do all 7 channels at once. And it goes to digital then, and then you have it on an SD card.
Now, see, with the Tascam Porter 1, it only has 4 channels.
Right.
Now, when I say I mixed it to 7, what I do is like I did all the drums on 4 tracks and bounced them down to 1.
Right. Okay.
And then I
So
kept
you
the
only have
guitar.
you only have 4 tracks to transfer then.
Right, 4 tracks. Yeah. I'm thinking the way in my brain. You understand what I'm saying? I
Yes.
misrepresented.
Yes.
But it's actually just 4.
I understand. Now, if you
Okay.
wanna pay for shipping, I'll ship this thing to you, and you can use it. It will make it somewhat faster. You could do all 4 tracks at once, if you want to do that,
Oh,
and it'll
okay.
go to card, and then you could use the card, or you could use that to do your final mixes with. But you can go to like what are those little SD cards. Well, I have them all. Oh, here these things. It puts them down to that, and then you
Yeah.
put that in the computer and read it off of that. Ah,
Okay. Well,
eh.
weigh it for me so I can know how much shipping is.
It's light. Hey, it's light.
Wow. At your age, if you can pick it up like that, it must be like.
Exactly. No, it's light as a feather. Probably less than 2 pounds. I'm certain it's less than 2 pounds. About a
I
pound
just
and a
get
half.
nervous. I just get nervous people shipping things that aren't mine, that are
Yeah, I hear you.
electronic, because so but I appreciate the thoughts, but let's not do that because I'm too paranoid.
All right, if you
I don't
come to
want
New York City to see the poster, which I'll find out about later this week, I'll meet you there, and then I'll just hand it to you, and you can take it home.
Okay, and then I will bring it back in one piece in another trip.
I bought it 5 years ago because I wanted to go to Mikey's house because it's too far for him to come here to record vocals. I bought it just for one trip to go to his house to record vocals, and then there's this nasty buzz everywhere in his house, so I never really used it. I don't think I
Now,
ever
is that
will.
buzz from pot or is that buzz from
It's a
bad grounding?
ground hum somewhere in his fancy electric. Okay, Mashera, now you're 5 minutes late, 3 minutes late, 4 minutes late.
One of my proudest moments as a bass player is when I moved into this house. I couldn't use my bass amp because there was a bad grounding issue. And whenever I played my bass through my bass amp, I had to play my bass through my guitar amp and then EQ the crap. And I just got tired of it. And I found the grounding issue and I fixed it. And now I can use my bass amp without. That is my proudest moment as a bass player.
Now, what's your proudest moment as a bass smoker?
Well, it's the time that I put the fire out myself when I was running down the street, and I remembered that stopping, dropping, and rolling was an option.
You Richard Pryor ripoff. We've heard this story before.
No, I don't think he stopped, dropped, and rolled. He ran to the police.
Right.
And also, mine is completely fabricated because I've never done that kind of drug.
All right. Well, there's a first for everything.
I used to smoke crack just to piss off wife number 1.
Oh yeah.
Was it hers, and you were using her supply, or you just?
No. It was because the guys that were like loosely in her circle that she really didn't like at all, they were all the crack smokers. So if I went and smoked crack with those dudes, she'd just get super pissed because she knew who I was doing it with. And she also knew that like those were the guys that were trying to get me laid by like other chicks all the time and stuff like that. So like it was a bad deal all around.
Now, were you that
Definitely not-
unattractive that you were you that unattractive that you had to have your friends help you do that, or
Yeah, this is
why
confusing
would
to me
they-
as
Listen,
well.
every player knows that a good wingman is invaluable. But the best wingman I ever had was my son when he was 3. So I mean, you know,
But
whatever.
the idea of trying to get you laid, like, what's in it for them to try to get you laid? I don't know.
Because they also didn't like my wife. And so
Oh.
like to get me other pussy was a shot against her. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like
man,
yeah.
this is fucking Peyton Place over
Listen,
here,
I used to
man.
hang out with some real toxic motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everybody around me was toxic for a number of years.
Okay.
You know, like no wonder
Now I want you to
I
hold.
was toxic
I want you to
because
hold on to
I
that.
hung out.
I want you to hold. I want you to hold on to that story, and I want you to tell it back to the lady who does the past life things, because I want to know who she thinks that you fucked with in the past life to come back
Bro.
with this kind of
Well,
toxicity.
let me just remind you guys, and you're free to join me in the evening if you want, but she's not coming back to this program. She's coming back to the
She's going
nighttime
to the
program.
Wednesday 8:00.
Yes.
So okay, so if you're scheduling that, can we get Dennis on that? That would be great.
Who?
Dennis Cockerham. He's the Trailer Park Country guy. He's got that tailgating song. Like, listen, this dude already got a ton of play at all of the tailgating events at like NFL games and stuff. Next year, he's already got word for sure that the Houston Texans will be playing that song in the stadiums. You know, not to mention like these tailgating DJs are all playing it at all the NFL tailgating events. I'm sure the tailgating that happens at the Super Bowl, I'm sure it's going to be featured there. Like he's got this song "Tailgate Crazy" that's really it's doing well.
Well,
It's doing really well.
the thing is, I really don't want musicians or comedians on the 8:00 show. I really want to keep it to the books
Okay.
and spiritual people and paranormal
Right.
stuff.
Well,
That is supposed to be like an offshoot of what my original radio show was, talking to paranormal people, talking to authors, that
Right.
kind of scientists. Not really looking for comedians and musicians. I know he's got a morning job, which keeps him from doing the morning show, but I really don't want.
Well, and he's not and I don't want to say this in the wrong way or whatever, but he wouldn't necessarily consider himself much of a musician. It's not like he's had a career leading up to this or whatever. Like this fell together. And actually, like you would be interested in the story.
Are you going to be on the show? What we
I'll
could
come,
do?
yeah, I would come.
All right,
Of course I could come.
All right. So here's what you do. I'm giving you homework. You book them. You look at the calendar. You get back to them. Book the date. Now, GD, I'm giving you homework as well.
Find out who he is and care.
No, Aaron, your buddy Aaron Bullitt. He requested a date that was already taken because he wants to be a regular, and I'm glad to have him as a regular. But he requested a date that was already taken. I said, pick another date. He said, I did, and he didn't. So I don't like going back and forth with people. Just do it. Don't make me.
I'm sorry. He's a grown-ass man. If you told him you didn't.
You are the senior black correspondent on the Coffee with the Dog show. You are responsible for all black people who come on this program.
All right. I'll call a nigga.
Thank you. And don't call him that. Call him.
You're the HNC.
Well, you're allowed to call him that. You're allowed. I can't call him that.
I'll do my 3/5
Yeah,
of a co-host.
Listen, YouTube associates you guys are joined at the hip according to YouTube's AI keyword thing. Aaron Bullitt and GD Fenderson come up locked. Sometimes it's Aaron and GD. Literally, they love you. They think you're like, I guess you all look alike. I guess you all look alike.
We're the new black power couple.
Yeah.
Bullet Fenderson. Fenderson
Yeah.
with a bullet.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good title for the next show, I guess. But yeah, I'd love to have him back on and welcome to be a regular. But you know, he just he's one of these people that don't seem to be able to figure out how to work that count. My count is my audience. Go to minddogtv.com/booking and tell me if it's hard to figure out.
Every audience member, book yourself on this
No,
show. Come right now.
just tell me if you can figure it out. Just look at it and say, is it really that confusing? Is it me? It's because I think it's pretty simple. But
Well, it's funny because I think now. Did you design the scheduling thing yourself, or did someone else design it for you?
it's Google. It's Apple Calendar just plugged in. It's my calendar that is part of the computer, and it's just calling all the information off my calendar there. And then I just put a form in that says, okay, you request a date. When I see it come through, I just add it to my calendar, and boom, it's automatically there.
Okay.
Right.
I didn't look. If I could do it, and I am not tech savvy.
You know who could do it?
Oh, you can though. I've totally done the booking for other people.
And yeah, if Willie could do it, he's not tech savvy.
Yeah.
And
no,
I've had the Geico caveman literally book a show. The Geico caveman.
Yeah, you just got to fill it out like you're
Yeah, he just plays an idiot on television.
Yeah, well, but he doesn't.
That's
He's
my
not
cousin, by the way.
really.
No, not really. But look at this Cro-Magnon man bump that I have.
Yeah.
You never know. This is why I wear a hat, because I look like a caveman if I do.
You know, I almost brought
this forehead just sit out there. People think I'm from another time.
I almost brought that up last night. Like, why with a full head of hair? Why you always have a hat on?
Yeah, it's because I have a shelf on my forehead.
Can you use makeup? Can you use like makeup, like shadowing, or can you just draw another set of eyebrows on them?
Or could you do a whole show with the coffee cup on the shelf?
Oh,
just put a cup up on the shelf.
I don't. That'd be messed up.
Could you like put an advertising? Maybe put Lord on one eye and then put Lady on the other. That way you distract it from the hump.
Tattoo. Did you guys know that I'm getting a neck tattoo? This like next week, next Tuesday, I think.
Careful if they pierce it too far, and then you die.
I mean,
now
I'm sure.
So that means you've given up your. Does that if you get the neck tattoo? Does that mean you have given up your dream of being a CEO for Mr. Musk? Because I know you want to be one of his executives. I know how much you appreciate him, but
no,
I don't think you can be a CEO and have a neck tattoo.
Just because I'm interested in all the guy is up to doesn't mean I want to work for the dude or anything like that. I'm just saying. He's got his hands in a lot of things that I find interesting.
Like slavery and stuff. No, my thing is, I'm just saying, if you get a neck tattoo, then you're definitely putting yourself in the non-CEO category of his friends. So you can still be his friend, but you just won't be seen in public with him.
I mean,
ever.
Whatever.
You'll be like his side piece friend.
Side piece friend.
Now,
fair play.
This Irish comedian is 15 minutes late. Now, if he's in New York City, it should not be a time zone issue because, as far as I know, Long Island and New York City are pretty close together. And
what if he's in a different voting district? Does that make a difference?
It does not make a difference. No. Could be. I'm just assuming now. Let me just defame an entire ethnic group.
Race of people?
Hey, no, I'm Irish.
Not a race.
I'm very fucking Irish.
I'm just saying, noting that he's Irish, he could be hungover or still drunk from last night.
That's probably most likely, yes.
But it was a Tuesday.
Actual Ireland.
I didn't think Irish people got drunk on Tuesdays as a matter of religion.
They get drunk on every day that ends with.
Well, maybe he started at midnight, which would make it on Wednesday.
That's true. You know, that's why you're here, Matt, to keep me thinking outside of the box. No one knows.
Willie's always thinking inside of the box, and you're always thinking. Well,
I'm always thinking about how to get inside the box.
Right,
That's right. What's in the box. All right. Anyway, I do have a piece of news. One piece of news, if you want to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's something you'll find.
Is this how you've gotten 1.7 million loads and no kids out of it?
Stop your crackling. You know what? We're gonna rename you Cracklin' Rosie. Cracklin' Rosie.
Why Rosie?
Because that's a song, right? Cracklin' Rosie. Cracklin' Rosie, get on board. You don't know Neil Diamond, Cracklin' Rosie?
I thought it was
Did you just
Cracklin'
ask me
Rose.
if I know Neil Diamond? I am a straight.
Willie fanned on
No,
a
I do
George
not know
Burns
Neil Diamond.
reference last night. I said, "Say goodnight, Gracie," and he didn't.
Dude, you know how long it's been?
Listen, I was thinking about going with the Rowan and Martin, and you probably would have taken that really bad.
Say goodnight, Dick. Good night, Dick.
Say goodnight, Dick would have been even worse. But he's like, say goodnight, Gracie. Who's Gracie? Like,
And then it wasn't even right away. Like 3 minutes later, I was like, wait a minute, was that a George Burns reference? What the fuck? Where'd that come from?
So that's it. It was just the two of them, so there wasn't a delay issue. It's not like they were. Was there a delay issue at any point?
No, of course not, because there was no guest. It was just the two of them sitting next to each other talking. So,
but you were interacting with them when you said goodnight, Gracie.
No, I put it on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, let's. What do I have news? Yeah, let's go with. Willie has the news. Here's the news with Willie Cronkite, and he's probably muted. No, yeah, he's muted. Unmute. Yeah.
All right. No, I'm not.
No, you're not now.
Right. Starting today, some of your what? I'm not muted, right?
No,
I shouldn't be.
No, you're on delay though.
All right, Jiminy Christmas. All right. Oh, sorry. I can't help that. Starting today, some of your favorite music will no longer be available on TikTok. Universal Music Group, representing artists such as Adele, Billie Eilish, Drake, and T. Swiftie, was unable to come to a new licensing agreement with TikTok music service. So the UMG stated in a letter to artists yesterday that they had been pressing TikTok for more appropriate compensation for artists and songwriters, protecting human artists from harmful effects of the AI, and online safety for issues. As they were unable to reach terms, the UMG pulled their artists from the TikTok platform.
Wow. Now, how does that affect One Will See with his almost 18 million streams on DistroKid?
1.8.
Oh, 1.8. Almost 1.8.
Yeah, we're
I
like
thought it was 18 million.
No, it's 1.8. Look at hang on. It's 1. I screenshotted it because I'm super proud of it.
I have almost 2 streams.
Where is it?
Oh yeah, you're right. As of last night, it was 1,784,028 streams on Lonely Man, and then the next one down is 3,009,004. I don't. How do you get to such a wide disparity from 1,784,000 to 3,904?
Well, the songs are very different. For one, that's definitely fair because "Lonely Man" is definitely a country song. And "Get Up to Getting Down" is a pretty lewd hip hop song, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it is very lewd, really.
I just want to say something to the promoters out there. It's not that I don't like you; it's that I hate you, and I want you to get ass cancer, and I want your whole family to get ass cancer. So stop coming at me with, "Do you want promotion services?" No, get ass cancer, rot your fucking ass away, and go get a job. That's all I just want to say. Thank you.
That sounds like a country song.
It's kind of like a lewd hip hop country ass cancer song.
Oh yeah.
They don't stop.
They don't make enough songs about ass cancer. I'll tell you that. That's for sure.
Well, ass cancer really isn't
it's a lost
thing.
art. It's a lost art.
Yeah. What do you mean ass cancer isn't a thing? What do you think prostate cancer is? That's ass cancer.
That's prostate cancer. It's not ass cancer.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's close enough.
Prostate cancer is not as cancerous as ass cancer. It's not as cancerous
Right.
as cancer.
Shut
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's
Am I
not.
saying that
Yes.
right? Oh
Yeah.
my
It's
god.
not as cancerous as cancer.
Right.
I do
Right.
want to say that I'm super proud of my wife. You know, just so you guys know, like that
She
was
sat that
so
close to you for that
far.
long and not getting pregnant.
Yeah, no, yeah, it helped. She can't get pregnant anymore. Otherwise, she probably would have. But I just want to say that was like really far outside her comfort zone, and she did a great job.
She seemed
She
pretty
was
comfortable.
wonderful. Yeah, she came across real comfortable. She was very smiley and stuff, which is good. You know, yeah, and I'm super proud of her for agreeing to do it, for actually doing it. Um, and can we circle back a little bit to what you were talking about before you brought us on, though, because I think it's kind of important
What
that we
about
touch on
Lee
that.
and getting? Oh
Yeah.
yeah. What do you have? What do you got to comment on? What do you
Well,
want to say? What do you?
well, because I definitely understand how you see me, similarities in me and that guy or whatever, and I want to tell you specifically that I appreciate, and I feel like I've tried to do a good job at, like, when you tell me things, like when you message me personally and tell me things, like you always do a really good job of like being, hey, like I'm not trying to be a downer, but I just want to kind of bring you more back into reality and how things are or whatever. I appreciate immensely that you do that, because I know 100% what you're talking about the high highs and the low lows, and like the higher your highs are, the more devastating the lows that you generally feel. That, you know, the lows that I go through are the same lows pretty much all the time, but because I get to some high heights in the awesome things that happen, it makes the reasonable low lows that I go through, it makes them seem lower when they're really not. It's just that I'm coming from such a high up place that when I hit that fucking basement, it's a harder hit because I'm
Right.
coming from a higher spot.
Yeah.
But I'm the same low that I always, you know, tend to go to or whatever. So I appreciate that you help keep me grounded.
But
And
people who have suicidal ideation, um, I think, because we all go through ebbs and tides and stuff. But for
yeah,
people who have suicidal ideation, it's only a cunt hair. I'm sorry to use that word. Am I in trouble? A
I think
cunt
it's
hair.
a fine cunt hair.
I find cunt hair from
Yeah.
being down to being I want to kill myself, and that
yeah,
is and people you never know when somebody's harboring those thoughts. They don't really come out and really tell you that. If they do, you have a chance to try to do something about it. But
right.
often, too often, what gets me with Lee, people who loved him and know him a lot longer than I do, people who lived in the same house with him, are shocked. And they're
Do
like,
you
how
think they
could
were really?
But okay,
Do you sincerely think they were really shocked, or do you think there's a possibility that they were just in like real denial, like that?
yeah,
Because
that's what I'd
if you know
say.
someone's suicidal, like my
Yeah,
stepfather was suicidal, and my mother knew it, and I think that she used that to push him over the edge when she was tired of being married to him.
well,
But
here's
so
the thing:
so
the guy who introduced us, he felt it necessary to tell me it was by his own hand. Like I knew he's 54 years old. He wasn't sick, and he died suddenly. Like it's either a car crash, an accident, or murder, or took his own life. And if
and
you
he
know
also
anything
said
about him at all, you would automatically assume it was another
right.
suicide.
and he also had said to you, if I got this right, that 54, that number sounds about right, and he was 54.
No, Lee told me, yeah, he told me that on this program because we were
Right,
talking about my documentary and
right.
where it says that I thought I was going to, every male in my family died at 54. And he said it was, now I didn't even think about his age until yesterday when he said, did you hear about Lee? And I was like, and then I said, you know, in my mind, I was like, he killed himself or more automatically. And then later last night, I think, and how old is he? I know he's 10 years younger than me. That makes him 54. He actually told me he was going to do it. So, he didn't tell
Yeah,
me he was
that's what
going
I
to
was
kill
thinking.
himself
Yeah,
at 54.
Yeah, so I didn't know if you like made that connection as soon as they said like he's dead. It's like, oh, he was 54, he's done it. No, but
But the lesson I think for people, and I would like both you guys to think about this and comment on it. I hate to be serious here. We're supposed to have a comedian who didn't show up, so I'm kind of mad
okay,
at him.
I'll mock him. I'll go ahead and mock. Go ahead. You just do your
Can
thing, and I'll
can you
mock.
mock him in
So
an Irish accent? But no, about this idea about wanting recognition. Nobody gets into show business who doesn't want recognition for their talent. I mean, we all do. We want to be recognized for it, but you have to
Right.
realize. And I think we were talking about this with the author the other day, because she is not pigeonholing like most authors do into one genre, and I think that limits your appeal to recognition from one. They say niche down.
right,
Lee was really, he rejected the idea of show business. He rejected the idea of being phony in any way, completely authentic. And I think you have to come to terms with, if I do that, I'm not going to get the recognition I so much crave. Like the very first conversation he had, how many Grammys you got? Our first conversation, he wanted to fight me.
so how many Grammys do you have?
0.
Oh, really? That's it? None?
Yes, exactly.
I have none, and I'm only
Yeah,
half the musician that you are. So I feel like I'm winning.
right.
No.
Yeah, I've never put an ounce of credibility on the Grammys anyway. But I think in the Roots category, he felt like that was recognition by your peers. The funny thing is, his peers, everybody who saw him perform knows how good he was. He was an extraordinary guitar player, very good singer, extraordinary guitar player. And every musician who saw him knew that. So his peers did recognize him, but he wanted recognition from an industry that just
Right.
doesn't care about blues music. They don't care about authenticity. I don't care if it's bluegrass. I don't care folk music. If you're going to be authentic in that, you're not doing country hip hop. You're not doing Taylor Swift pop or I don't know whoever the next pop star is. But if you're not doing that, you're not going to get that recognition, that mass recognition on that kind of thing. And it's a hard thing for people to kind of accept, is that if I choose the road of the higher road of real authentic art, that no matter how good I get, my recognition, I'm narrowing my field of
Right.
potential customers. But it's just so sad. Like, why is that so important to you? Well,
That's why I choose being mediocre at like multiple media as opposed to being really, really good at one. Because I could
Right.
be really good at sitting on the sofa and watching television. I mean, that is my niche thing. That is like my gift. But
Yeah.
if I'm going to be recognized, no one's going to see me sitting on the sofa watching television. So if I'm going to get the
Right.
recognition I deserve, I'm going to have to be really mediocre at a lot of things.
well, I
So
think that's why on my way to a gig, I'm always negative. Like, this is gonna suck. This is gonna suck. And then when it does suck, I'm not. I've expected
You're
it, so
not
I'm not.
surprised.
Yeah. And if it doesn't suck, I do get on a very, like,
Then-
yesterday.
yeah.
I was on a high. People would tell me it was like a one of the best shows they've seen. I know. It just sounds like I'm being bragging or something. I'm not, but I hit my marks
you
yesterday.
are.
I was feeling myself on, like I was being entertaining more than just, and I was singing better than I normally sing,
Right.
and it just felt good. And I felt like the crowd was with me and supporting. And the more I did that, the more it felt like they were with me. And I walked out of there like, wow, I'm on a fucking high, talking to myself about, wow, that was great. And I could deal with traffic and all that stuff. But I think there are some times, and I don't know if you guys go through this, but like Sunday, as much as people told me you were very good and all that, and the tip thing was full and all that, people were thanking me, but I still walked out of there saying, "Man, you suck. You should give up. Don't do this anymore." I'm saying that to myself.
Well, that's
in the
that
car.
imposter syndrome. That's like an actual thing. Imposter syndrome, and it's it's your brain attacking yourself, telling you that you're no good, even though there's all these indicators that say that you are. And like so, like for me, for instance, seeing that number in DistroKid yesterday, like that allows me, when my brain starts attacking me, like I can go back to that and be like, listen, nobody that you grew up with ever thought that you would have a song that a
Let me
million
tell you
fucking
something.
people
We've
listen
already talked about how I'm trying to be a moderating force with you. 1.7 million streams, almost 1.8 million streams on there is a real accomplishment. You got to be really proud of that. I mean, that is, for an independent artist, that's extraordinary, and I think you can grow from there. It's how do you make that? Because you've seen the numbers that it really comes out to, like that dollar
yeah,
every
$20,
million
yeah,
stream, every 100,000 streams or something. Like $18 for 18 million streams is ridiculous. But
yeah.
the fact that most independent artists are at the numbers that other song at tops, like they would be delighted with 4,000 streams, like the next song on there has. But
Right.
1.7 million, that's a great accomplishment. You got to be very proud of that. But please don't get too excited about. But it's something to build on.
What it does is it silences that imposter. Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that imposter no longer gets to have a voice with me because the facts already tell me something different. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm go ahead, Willie. I'm sorry.
Well,
You should be
and you know,
sorry.
so
No,
I
let's
am.
tell them that you
so
should be
like for
sorry.
you,
No, you should be sorry. You're rude. You're thoughtless.
how dare
You're
you?
inconsiderate. You're a bad person.
And I'm only 3/5 of a person. I'm so sorry.
Well,
I'm half the man
we'll
I
give you
used to be.
7/10. How about that? 7/10 of a person. Do you
Is
feel
that
better?
okay? So now I'm a woman. Is that what you're saying? No,
Yes.
no.
Well,
What does that even mean? What?
It's a pay rate. It's a pay wage thing.
it's a suffrage. It's a suffrage thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a suffrage thing. You
well,
wouldn't
that
know
is
because you're
something
not a
women go
woman.
through.
Now, what was the question
Yeah.
to Willie that before
No,
I
no.
felt like putting you down?
I was just going to say that as far as the imposter syndrome goes, whenever I'm feeling down, one of the things I do to pick myself up is I watch the video of Zsa Zsa Gabor on Johnny Carson with her cat. So whenever I'm feeling down, because that makes me smile. Just
Wait,
watching that video over and over again, it makes me smile.
do
I
you
just love it.
invite Mandela over the house to watch it with you?
Well, I have invited Mandela many, many times, but he, apparently his phone number has changed like recently, like in the past few years,
Uh-oh,
because he
that's the
doesn't take
Mandela
up.
effect. So the phone number's not what you remember it?
No,
That's the Mandela
or
effect right there.
Yeah,
damn.
it is.
So when
That's
I
what
get
that is.
down, I watch Zsa Zsa Gabor and Johnny Carson. That's how I pick myself up. I just pull out the VHS, pop it in the thing, and I watch it.
Now I remember Ava on Merv. It'd be a good question to see if Zsa Zsa Gabor was ever even on Johnny Carson, and I mean literally on
Oh,
Johnny
I'm
Carson.
It's
sure.
on my
I'm
VCR
sure.
tape. I remember it. Okay, I remember it. Stop fucking with my head, Mr. Mac.
Listen, you think she
Mr.
never
Mind
promoted
Dog
Green
with the
Acres?
mind, Mr. Mind Dog with the mind tricks, trying to make me think I don't remember shit.
When you see what Kelly, hang on, Kelly says that when she's feeling down, she goes on Twitter and harasses an old man that lives on Long Island.
I know lots of old men that live on Long Island. I could hook her up with one. Oh, she means me? Oh.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, she's
no.
talking about you.
Uh,
Oh my god.
I never get harassed.
So
I never
what's
get
the
harassed.
tattoo on your neck?
I never
What's
get
the
harassed.
tattoo on your neck? What's the tattoo on your neck going to say?
Nazis.
Oh, dude,
It's gonna
I'm
be a
so
swastika.
excited. Thank you
It's gonna
for
be a
asking.
swastika.
No,
White power.
no, far from it, bro. What?
Gonna
But
be a swastika.
I will say that I am getting a patriotic tattoo, so a lot of people are probably going to think that I'm a Trumpster of some sort or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to get a rippling American flag that's all beat up. With
Don't do that. Don't do that.
5%.
Because if somebody ever looks at you upside downwards, now your neck is in distress because that's what the upside down flag is. So you don't do the flag. Get something else. Get something else that no matter how people look at it, the meaning doesn't. Yeah, get something else that no matter how people look at it, the meaning doesn't change. Otherwise, your neck will be in distress half the time. I'm sorry. I'm not. Look, I don't know anything about tattoos. Like I don't know anything about comedy. So you go ahead. You tattoo. You tattoo
It's
you.
very it's a very important tattoo to me. And
Why?
big why?
Why?
Because
You don't
so
even
this
have
is
it yet. How could it be attached to it? You don't even have it yet. That's like liking an unborn baby.
That's
what?
true.
Yeah, it's like liking
What?
an unborn baby. You don't even have this tattoo and you're defending it with your life. Come on. You don't even have it yet.
Bro,
It's not even
because
paid
it means
for.
a lot to me. This is my like my this is my out of prison celebrating being out of prison and that they were
Oh,
wrong about me tattoo because the whole
oh,
5%. So you got to remember in 2007 when I got processed into prison, they told me that my projected recidivism rate, which is the likelihood that I would go back to prison within 3 years of my release, they said that my projected recidivism rate was 95%. They pretty much told me that you're not going to know life outside of prison. You're just going to come back. And this is my 7th year out of prison. And like I got my initial parole, my first opportunity of parole I was given. I never had a write up during all my time on parole. And I was released from parole like almost 3 years early because of good behavior and stuff like that. So on my motherfucking neck where everybody can fucking see it and it's nice and in everybody's fucking face, I'm gonna get a beat up American fucking flag with a 5% right in the fucking middle of it, so everybody knows that I live a 5% life of fucking freedom because
well,
that's something they told me I couldn't fucking do.
make sure the 5 is discernible and nobody thinks it's a 1%er.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding. Yeah, that for sure, for sure. I'm
Yeah.
mindful of that, but I'm mindful of the fact that this is the kind of tattoo that people are going to ask you about over and over and over again. What is this?
This is
Old
from the other night. You see all those signatures on the flag. First of all, that's desecration of the flag, but that's not
It
even the
is.
right flag. I think
No.
those 50 stars and a peace sign. I think that's kind of a desecration of the flag. But this is from Jackie's Q&A. This woman brought her flag. She's got all these celebrities who have signed her flag. You see all those signatures all over it. Jackie's like, the first time anybody's ever asked me to sign a flag. I got her picture. She's gonna be in my little Jackie down. And the guy standing behind her is that guy Corey who wrote to me and said, "You might want to interview Jackie Martling." It's like, duh, dude. Jackie's got the keys to the store.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, look at all those signatures she's got. She takes that flag everywhere there's a possibility of a meet and greet. And I wanted to talk about meet and greets just a little bit here because I've said this 1,000 times. I compare music and comedy way too much. But if you go to see Aerosmith, Aerosmith is not hanging around after the show to give every single person, and now they couldn't if it was like Madison Square Garden or some gigantic place like this. They're not giving every member of the crowd 5 minutes of their time to come up, shake their hand, take a picture with them, sign something, kiss and hug, and all that kind of stuff. Comedians are almost expected to do that after every show. It's not just the time on the stage, but I was looking at Jackie. It was a good probably 90 minutes after the show that he was dealing with audience members. That's for a guy 76 years old that's wearing them out. I talked to him about it.
That's a lot.
He loved it. He loves that, and that was. I thought he was, and I felt bad for him. I was like, God, man, I can't imagine how you at my gigs. Generally, 2 or 3 people will come up and say they enjoyed it, or you get like that drunk guy. And I remember this very clearly. A drunk guy who he came up and he was shaking our hands, and he's the kind of guy who shakes your hand and never lets go.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Barone, the drummer, just yelled at him, "I can't shake your hand any longer." It made the whole fucking place laugh. But that's what we get. We don't get what the hell is
What
GD
happened to
doing?
GD?
He's
Yeah,
going sideways. He's going. I don't know. He's weirding out. Now he's gone. He'll be
Oh
back.
my god.
Yeah. So yeah, the big part of the comedy thing is the Q&A, the meet and greets after. We don't ever have to do that, and I can't imagine anybody like even a folk singer or somebody out there just doing like a solo show having to deal with every single person in the crowd and stand there like a reception line for them. It's brutal.
I will say I saw Whitney Cummings when I went to Whitney Cummings' show. She was very gracious. Dude, that girl literally gave her coat that she was wearing away. She gave her shoes away. And she did. But I will say that towards the end, like as the crowd got smaller, because she did but she did them. She didn't come down and do them. She did them from the stage. But she was like, if people want to do, but then she did change and start doing. Once the crowd got smaller, she came down from the stage. But she told people straight up, have your camera ready. Like I'm not fucking waiting for you to get your camera open and blah blah blah. So like she said, have your camera out and ready and let's go, and boom, 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 boom.
I can't imagine even saying, because that's and I know she probably didn't mean that to be like full of herself, but have your camera ready. It feels like, oh, look at me, I'm so wonderful, man. Look at me. Thank you. I know. No, I'm just saying. I'm not putting that on her. I'd say that's how I would feel about saying that. Have your camera ready.
It definitely wasn't in that tone or whatever. But I know what you're saying. What is that? Ron Burgundy. Hey everyone, come look at how good I look, or come see how good I look, or whatever. Yeah,
you got to see. And I'm still waiting for Brendan to put out that episode with Jackie. But there's when Brendan was on with us during the Potathon, he's like, "I'm so full of myself tonight." He's like, "Yeah, I thought I'd take it to the next level," and he was just going all these cliches that Hollywood people say that are so full of themselves. That it was pretty funny. Which reminds me, I have a challenge for you, Willie.
Yes.
Well, I mean, just before, can y'all hear me?
Huh?
I just want to make sure you could hear me because I was having difficulties.
I can't hear you because you're having difficulty.
Damn it! I hate when I do that.
I know. You're being difficult. No, I have a challenge for Willie. You could try it too, GD, if you want. But
being a successful white man for a day.
Nah, that could never happen. You can't pull off whiteface. Maybe you could.
Really?
That isn't
really.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure you can pull off whiteface.
I think you should do it. If you could do it, you should do it. You should pull off white. You should do whiteface one day. Just pick a day and come on here and be like Brad Whiteman.
Hey,
the only problem I have
trading places, GD. I could do blackface and you can do whiteface.
No.
The only problem I have with that is that my skin is so sensitive that it breaks out when I put makeup and stuff on it. That's why I haven't done it for like a lot of years.
I could get you a white guy mask. One of have you seen
those? I have white guy masks.
Those really convincing ones that they sell. I don't know. It looks on social media.
Oh no! I have a Trump mask and a Biden mask.
They have like an old man mask that really looks authentic. Like you can put it on and it looks like a movie quality, believable latex mask. They have all sorts of those things.
Are you talking about this mask?
No.
Is this the mask you're talking about?
No.
Where the white women at?
Again with that white women. But okay, let me do the challenge. The challenge for Willie, because Willie says he boasts about being able to do voiceover stuff, and he said I could do anything I asked. Quote: I could do anything you asked me to do. That's what the quote was. I want you to listen to modern country DJs, not it's two parts of this. On the radio, listen to the radio and the talk-ups with these phony guys. For 4 minutes, they do like a talk up to a song coming out of, they'll talk about like what's going on locally, an event or something like that, and then lead right into the next song. But they do it with this such a put on phony FM radio voice. I used to be able to do that for 10 seconds at a time, and I probably can't even do it for 10 seconds at a time. But to mock that, but to also change the wording of it so that you're saying funny shit, but keeping that voice on. That's one.
Right.
And the other one is the FM radio car commercial where they scream at you and yell ridiculous stuff. Yeah, come on down for the one night, blah, 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 and the manager's wife will suck your dick and 20% off. Get that deal right now. That kind of thing. If you could do something that like that, a comedic take on the radio car commercial guy, if you could pull that off authentically.
When I was a telemarketer in the late 90s, and one of the things that I noticed about people is that different people in different parts of the country would respond differently to like your tone of voice and your meter and stuff like that. And like whenever I would call somebody in California, I would be like, I'm calling Discover Card members on behalf of American Bankers Life and American Bankers Insurance Company of Florida. How you doing today, sir? You know, like just over the top, like very excited. And like I would go through my whole spiel like that, you know, like and even when you know, so yeah, no, I look forward to that. I'll definitely
Yeah, well, the way I would the first part is the FM radio. It basically, I've been listening to a lot of country stuff because I'm doing these country gigs and I want to get more stuff that's in my wheelhouse to sing. But listening to these guys in between. Now the traffic guy will come on and the commercial guy, and then but then the regular DJ comes on and he's just like so fucking phony. It's not like excited. It's just Hollywood bullshit. You're like, I know you don't talk to people in that tone of voice. Why are you doing that on the radio? Do you think that makes me like you more? Because it makes me want to come down there and fucking choke you. That guy. And then
well, they're using their radio voice.
Yeah. Well, I don't like their radio voice.
If you go to sporting events, like sporting announcers do it a lot too. I've noticed. You know what I mean?
Joe List does a great sports guy stuff, commentary from the stands covering the game. But then those car guys with their really fast, loud, abrasive. Why does every car commercial? Now, car commercial, you can tell the difference between a car commercial, a soap commercial, or any other commercial on the radio. Everyone is so full of energy and so full of, come on now, we got all these big fucking crazy deals. And that's where I think like they're ready to throw in a blowjob from the general manager's wife. Anything to get you to come down to the lot. We're selling 2022s with 2022s with absolutely no interest and get $4,000 off if you buy today, man. Like, what the fuck, man? You guys take it. Does every car company feel like, I don't know, like you got to fucking yell at people to sell a car? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why you still got 22s on your lot. Because
that's weird because that's on the radio. Because when I watch television commercials, they just use sex to try to sell the cars.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't watch television. I don't. It's been a while. But I remember. I don't even really remember car commercials. I remember the truck commercials. Those pickup trucks commercials were big time. I don't remember a lot of car commercials. I should watch a day of television just to refresh what it's like, broadcast television. So Moshera, you're not welcome on this program. Why did you even bother booking? Now I'm just going to read. I'm going to read his little intro that he gave me here.
Why would you read it? Why give him the press?
Because there's something I would probably feel not offended by, but just should have given me a hint that the guy was he was going to stiff me. Born in Ireland, moved to New York in 2018. Been here long enough to dislike a new batch of immigrants. That pisses me off. I mean, I know that's funny, but you know what? You've been. That's not long enough to not like a new batch of immigrants. You've been here since 2018. I could see if you said I got here in 1954. I'm here long enough to not like a new batch of immigrants. But you've been here 6 years. You don't get to say who's allowed to come in and who's not allowed to come in. Fuck you.
Right, that's not even a generation. That's not even a generation. I agree.
Not even a half a generation.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the Irish guy that was in William Cuddy's fold in Gangs of New York. Remember?
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't watch the movie.
I saw that
rubbing
movie.
elbows with the natives.
I didn't like that movie. I saw it.
What?
I was like, I didn't like it.
That's
All right.
amazing.
Well,
I love that movie.
no, we don't have to have him on the program.
I
No,
didn't. I did not like that movie.
well, I didn't see it, and I like it. So
Yeah,
we
I mean,
balance
dude,
each other
Gangs of New
out.
York is a badass
You saw it and
movie.
didn't
I
like
love
it.
that movie.
I didn't see it, and I liked it. So we balance each other out there.
Okay.
I don't really give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about it. That Daniel Day-Lewis, I don't know why he's the biggest actor in the world. Why people? I get maybe he's convincing or what. It's something about him. I'm not interested in a
Yeah.
movie. He's in.
He's got good range.
What are you
Well,
laughing at?
He's got a lot of good range.
Ian,
one of
Ian,
my
I'm pretty sure your
favorites
coffee.
that's
Oh, Ian, I'm sorry. Ian just said, I'm out of milk. Today, my coffee is blacker than GD.
My coffee is always blacker than GD.
I
GD's not.
say it doesn't take much for your coffee to be blacker than me. I am so mocha.
Yeah, he is like milk chocolate.
Yeah, yeah. I'm.
Not
Matter
even
of fact,
milk.
in the wrong neighborhoods, I can't even pass for black.
That's probably
Or the
true.
right neighborhoods.
Right.
Yeah. Where were we? We were somewhere. I forget. Oh, Daniel Day-Lewis. I don't know. He's just one of the actors that I'm just. I get people think he's like a great actor. I can't get interested in him. I don't know, something about him. I want to fight him.
I have no. Damn it! I have a okay. Fuck, it takes like 3 minutes to tell the story. I'm gonna try to do it in less.
Before you tell the story, can I ask if you ever look at somebody and just think, I want to fight that guy, just based on the way they look? Just don't like them because.
Yeah. Myself in the mirror every day. You have no idea what it's like to look in the mirror and want to punch yourself in the face. Going,
have you ever
"Damn it."
punched yourself really hard?
Oh yes.
Listen,
I've done it. I have hit myself in the head with a wrench because I was working on something, and I have arachnophobia.
no, I mean
I
on
tried.
purpose.
No, I'm just saying. I try real hard to hide it or to at least cope with it. But if I'm caught off guard and a spider just like appears out of nowhere, then you see like the real fear. And I had a wrench. I was doing my job. I was working, and the spider just like jumped down and landed on my head, and I went.
Oh my god!
You know, when you said that, my head hurt. I got a sharp pain right in the top of my skull when you said that.
It was a Stanley open-end adjustable wrench with a blue latex handle. Yes.
Wow.
Just
So
12 inch.
If you remember the 3-minute story that you wanted to tell that story, because when you're done with that story, we'll play a commercial. I'll go get coffee, and maybe the next guest will be kind of in the green room. So you got
Okay.
three. We'll give you 3.5 minutes.
Okay. When I was in the 7th grade, my teacher, my favorite teacher to this dying day, a guy named William Eldridge, it was an enrichment program. It was like gifted and talented before we had gifted and talented. I got to
How'd
class
you get
early.
in there? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just
oh.
wondering how you got in there. Go ahead. No, just go skate over that.
He left the door open. That's how I got in. So I'm sitting in the back of the classroom, and he didn't know I was there. He had his back to, he was working on the blackboard. And so he's putting the lessons up, and he has a piece of chalk in each hand, and he starts writing today's date. He wrote the date, and then he wrote home assignment for class, and he's got one piece of chalk in each hand, and he's writing on 2 blackboards side by side like this. And then he got to the part where it goes, there was class 7-6, which is what I was in, and class 7-7, which was the class that wasn't as smart as us, but they could be if they tried a little bit harder. So there was, and he wrote class 7-6 with his left hand and 7-7 with his right hand. And then he starts writing the 2 different assignments with 2 different hands at the same time. And I was fucking blown away. And so I snuck into class the next day to watch him do it again.
That's amazing.
And I said, I've got to fucking learn to do this. So I went home and I practiced my ass off, writing with both hands and then writing 2 different things at the same time. And I was like, after about a month that I could do it, I didn't tell him I was practicing. I wanted to surprise him. I wanted his approval. because I really liked this teacher. He was so fucking good and so fucking smart. So I wanted to surprise him and I wanted to impress him. So I went into class and I said, Mr. Eldridge, do you mind if I write the home assignment on the class today, on the board today? He goes, go ahead. And so I picked up 2 pieces of chalk and I started doing what he did, and I started to write. And I did the 2 things, and I am so fucking proud that I wrote the 2 assignments with the 2 different hands. And when I was done, he looked at me and he says, yes, but can you do it with your feet? And I went, fuck. So I went home and I practiced my ass off writing with my feet, taking the shoes off, putting the pencils in my feet, and learning to write with my feet. And I learned to write my name with my feet. And, so I could write my name with both feet, just like that. And so I went to class after about 2 or 3 months, and I sat down and I didn't say a word. He was sitting at his desk. I didn't say a word. I just sat down, pulled up a chair, sat down, and I took off my shoes and socks, put a pen in each foot, each toes, and I started writing on the paper. And he looked at me, he goes, I didn't say I could do it. I just asked if you could. And so I spent all that fucking time trying to impress him. And he never said that he could do it. I was just so, and so knowing that I could do that is what I'm saying. Knowing that I could do that, when the movie came out, My Left Foot, I said to myself, fuck Daniel Day-Lewis, because I can write with my feet, both feet at the same time. Fuck Daniel Day-Lewis. And that's a talent that I never got to use, not on Letterman, not on stupid
I didn't
animal
even know.
tricks.
I didn't even know about that movie. I knew the title of it, but I never knew what it was about, or that Daniel Day-Lewis showed that skill. But let me just finish my thought here. I think you did the wrong thing here, because if I was challenged to do that, or even if I perceived I was challenged to do that, I'd say, fuck you, I'm going to do it with my ass. And I would put a pen in my ass and fucking write my name with my ass.
But I'm going to tell you now, I have done a number of burlesque
That's how
shows.
twerking started.
And I can't tell you how many women I've seen paint portraits with their ass, but I've never seen them write with their feet. So, and maybe because it's low-hanging fruit, I don't know.
Have you ever seen that guy play the guitar with his feet? He's fucking amazing. The guy's got no arms, but he plays guitar with his feet like Eddie Van Halen.
That's no choice. He had no choice.
Yeah.
Give me someone who has a choice and chooses to do it.
Yeah. There was a lady with no arms that was driving and going through the drive-through. And when I saw that bitch take one of them big, like a large fucking fast food cup from the person at the window and hand it into with her goddamn foot.
You don't mean hand it. You don't mean hand it. You mean foot it. Yeah, she foot it. Yeah. She didn't hand it.
Yeah, foot it. Whatever.
Tell the story the way it actually happened, Willie. Don't embellish.
But that was one of the most crazy things I'd ever fucking seen. Like, not only this bitch.
Now, didn't he drink it after her foot? Wait a minute. After her foot was in the drink and the toe, because to hold it, you had one toe.
Like she literally like took her toes and like curled it enough to like hold on to it, like, and with her toes, and just monkey footed it across and just sat it down. Like
monkey footed it.
Craziest thing I'd ever seen.
Monkey footed it. Oh my God.
Is that not okay to say? I'm sorry.
I know. It's fine. It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah,
that's technically correct.
Yeah. Whenever we did stuff with our toes and stuff, my parents would say that we had monkey feet because we could pick stuff up, move stuff.
I need a long enough commercial here to go get my coffee. I'm not playing that. No, I'm not fucking playing that. That's too. It's just too bad for me. But it's 3 minutes
long.
I know it's way too long.
The other one. Play the Reverend's coffee. No, the T-shirt one. I'm just kidding. You don't have that. I have to load it up.
I do have the original Naked Wine spot, and that gives me slightly less than 3 minutes. 2 minutes. So I'm going to play Naked Wines, although it's not the. Let me play one before I play the Naked Wines thing. I just want to say, and this is not for me. This is for Willie's benefit to support the show at night. This is for Luminar Neo. Check this one out. This is a short one, and then I'll play. Naked Wines for us. coming this winter pre-order. Now, you don't have to pre-order. It's already out. Link is not in the description, but on the homepage of minddogtv.com. Click that link and get you all your special discounts that Willie can probably tell you about better than I can. But Luminar Neo, let me just tell you, as an avid Photoshop user, I think it's better than Photoshop. It's cheaper than Photoshop, and there's no learning curve. You can get being a photo manipulating bastard, if I can call you a bastard, in a matter of minutes. So I will be right back. We're going to play Naked Wines, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to a better way to buy wine. NakedWines.com is a customer-funded wine business. We don't just sell wines, we make them happen. Since launching in the UK in 2008, Angels have helped us invest in over 159 independent winemakers in 14 different countries. Turns out, it's better business for everyone. Our winemakers get to sell all of their wines and make a living. We make the same margins as everyone else and have a lot of fun along the way. And as a wine drinker, for the $40 a month you probably would have spent on wine anyway, you'll get wholesale prices. You can be sure that all of our wines have been lovingly made by a talented winemaker and stripped of all the costs that add nothing to the flavor or quality of the juice in the bottle. Support independent winemakers. Get better wine in return. With the support of 300,000 wine drinkers, we fund talented independent winemakers up front. This way, they get to spend all of their attention on making you the best wine possible. World-class wine, direct from talented independent winemakers. A better deal, up to 60% off market prices. A better way to discover tasty new favorites with over 2 million reviews from wine drinkers like you. Become an angel today. Like me. Get started by visiting minddogtv.com and click the banner on the homepage now.
Stop being a whiner. Bunch of whiners. Although it looks like she's gonna have a nip pop out, and I definitely would love to see. I just love pop outs.
I was hoping for.
Oh, why didn't you say so? Sure. Why didn't you say so? Wait a minute, Matt. Okay.
You have to do it in white nipple. Can you do it in white nipple?
Our nipples, we're gonna lose our guests. I just want to.
As a matter of fact, my nipples are au naturel.
All right. Our first guest did not show up, but our second guest of the morning has dared to show up.
He did. Tequila King's dad.
Here's what I know. Here's what I know about Dare Shendale. He's a comedian based in Toronto, Canada. That's what I know about him. I've tried to do some research on him, like GD would do, just to get minimal information, like what does he even look like? Do we even have a good picture of him? I don't really know much about him. He's like Canada's best kept secret, but he's here now, and he's going to illuminate some facts about Dare.
So he's a member of the Illuminati. That's why we can't find anything.
I like his haircut. Good morning, Dare.
Protection.
Good morning, gentlemen. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
See,
yes.
already, we're not gentlemen.
Don't worry, he doesn't have to be on the show.
Illuminate.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, so we have an idea of who and what you are.
Sure. Well, Toronto, Canada is my hometown, born, bred, and raised. Relatively new to comedy. So I was here to actually, I think, provide some perspective of someone who's new to the industry, the trials, tribulations, the excitement of getting new bookings, traveling, things of that nature. So really, it's just been a fun experience, a learning experience. Here to
how long? When you say new, how long? How long you been doing?
Well, there's a cute answer and a real answer. The cute answer is the first set I ever did was when I was 19 years old, 31 years ago. I did it out of spite because my best friend said I wasn't funny. I went to a local comedy club, did a very funny set. The manager called me over afterwards and said, "Kid, that was your first time. That was pretty good." I looked at my friend and said, well, there you go, and didn't go back for 30 years. So,
Wow. Go ahead.
well, so 5 months ago, a friend of mine suggested there's some comedy competitions here in Toronto. You're a funny guy. Why don't you say some of this stuff on stage? So I entered into what's known as the Comedy Brawl here in Toronto, a tournament that started with 300 comedians, and I made the final 10. So it was at that point I decided, hey, maybe I should take this a little seriously, kind of having some success, and more importantly, having a blast doing it.
Well, let me tell you, I can tell, even though without the name, I can tell that you're not Italian, because if somebody said you're a funny guy, the Italian response is funny how? Funny how? What am I? I here to make you laugh? Am I a clown? Am I here?
Am I a clown?
Am I here to entertain you?
Yeah, I'll be here to. No, he's a grown up. Let him speak for himself. Yeah, so that's interesting. So, but the question is, 31 years is a long time to lay off. Why? Why you after that first time you just weren't interested in it? What happened? You just lost.
I'm just kind of lazy, to be perfectly honest. It requires, for anyone in the comedy industry who really wants to do it, it's hard work. You really got to grind it. I really thought you just show up and be brilliant. No, you got to be out there every single night, putting the time in, putting the work in to get better, because it is a process. Not all of us step out of the womb like Dave Chappelle and be genius instantly. It is a learning process, and that's what I've come to discover.
I don't think Chappelle really was born with any kind of genius. I think he worked hard. You just didn't see him do it as a teenager. He was working really hard. But I appreciate your perspective on that, because I say that all the time. People looking for the secret to success. The secret, wherever you define success, that's up to you. But the secret to actually having a life in it is getting out there and hustling and working as often as you can, and putting in the effort and energy and time and all that stuff that takes. When I was starting in music, I would gig 7 days a week, and I still would. If the guys in my band had the energy to keep up with me, I would still be we'd still be playing 7 nights a week, 2 shows on Sunday, whatever. Every possible opportunity you have to
be
find
fair,
and take.
man, you had better coke than they did. That's why they couldn't keep up.
Right. That's true.
You don't mind. What prompted you to? You seem to have a voracious appetite for knowledge. You have a very wide group of guests. I did a little bit of research before coming on as to the type of guests you've been experiencing. It's quite the gamut that you've been talking across. Have you always been interested in such a wide group of knowledge, or what prompted you to want to find out about everything?
I get bored easily, and
all right.
But I do want to know about a lot of different things. I definitely I always had an interest in science. Always had an interest in history. Always had an interest in the creative arts and all that kind of stuff. And then people come at you with their interest once you have a deep conversation with somebody, and they start talking about what they're into, and it opens up windows for you of thinking about, wow, I never really thought about that. Now I am interested in it. So it's like it feeds off of other people coming on and letting you know what they're interested in, and then it's like, wow, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Well, yeah. I share your passion, by the way.
Yeah, I love learning. I always love learning something new. Sometimes, like a lot of people, I can feel like I know more than I do, and that could be really humbling when you come up against somebody who really knows the subject very well. Kind of makes you think, wow, I really need to learn more about that before I start giving opinion.
That's kind of what I've experienced with comedy, to be perfectly fair. I came into it with a degree of, let's call it, arrogance. I mean, you got to be confident, obviously, to be on stage, but I really thought I knew what I was doing. But practicing in a vacuum by yourself is not. So I had great monologues. They were good monologues. That is not the same as interacting with a live audience and having that give and take of energy and laughter. Completely different animal. And again, a learning process. And quite frankly, as you said, humbling. Very, very humbling to realize I'm not even close to being as good as I thought I was.
Now, before you got into comedy, what was your profession?
Well, as a kid, I was an actor from 6 to 16. So I did commercials, television,
Okay.
theater. Then I came up primarily through the sales ranks. So I've always been a talker. That's never been a
That's
problem.
exactly what the biggest challenge for comedians is being able to talk without going just to be able to talk smoothly and
Oh man, even me, dude. Yeah,
to be
still.
able to keep talking and not to just put in too many extractable sounds.
Fillers.
Extractable.
Yeah.
So that's a big challenge of it. So being a salesperson, you've been doing that for 30 years anyway. So
Yeah, pretty much. I've always been a wordsmith. I really appreciate the use of the English language. I appreciate using the full breadth and scope of my linguistic capabilities, which sometimes bombs because people don't know words sometimes.
right.
I don't know if you've ever
Right.
experienced that, GD.
Right.
You use a word and you look around and go, okay, did anybody actually know what xenophobia means? And
You know what? I
Yeah,
probably
that's the fear of watching the show Xena. Everybody knows that.
Xena.
everybody knows that.
I don't. Why would you? You should pick a different word that people may not know. That was easy. Go
Right.
ahead. Try me another word. Try another. I'm just.
No.
Somebody called me the other day and asked me what
Xena.
I remember Xena. She was pretty hot.
People who are afraid of nipple
afraid to watch
slippage
it,
don't
though?
watch Xena.
Well, guys,
People who are
actually,
afraid
that's my
of
mom's
nipple
name.
slippage.
I think GD is showing his age because
Yeah.
that show was on like 35 years ago, and I don't think it's even on Nick at Night or like. There's no. I doubt there's
I was
even.
a kid. Yeah, no, I was a.
I don't think you can find Xena. Tirana.
Yes.
Tirana. I'm going to keep saying it Tirana. I know how to pronounce it, but I want to say Tirana for some reason. Comedy scene up there, pretty competitive. There's a lot of comedy going on up there.
Yes, it is very, very, very competitive. But the one thing that did confuse me when I first came out, one of the people said, "How long have you been part of the community?" Which I thought was sort of antithetical to the idea of competition. But it really is a bit of a community. They are very welcoming. They're very supportive, which was very confusing to me. Yeah, supportive, welcoming.
No, not that part.
Encouraging.
I just be LBGTQC for comedy. So community. When I think of community, I think of LBGTQ, and now I have to add a C for comedy.
Apparently.
Just put all 26 letters. We'll eventually fill in a word to go with it. Just throw in all 26 letters.
Right.
You just call me Alphabet Community.
Community is it's a very strange word because my
they
experience.
don't like it when you call them that. They do not.
Really? Comedians or
the LGBTQ community.
That's why I refuse to be a comedian.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You know what? Community seems weird for comedy to me because my experience with it is I want to say comedians are not generally nice people, even though one-on-one I love comedians. I have friends who are comedians. I love people who are into comedy, but together they can be more backbiting and more backstabbing than any other group of creatives that I know. Authors are the opposite. They're super supportive, but comedians, although they network and they like to get in cliques, when the one person who's in that clique isn't there, they're getting a new asshole by everybody in that group. And I see it all the time now. They don't want to admit that, but so I think communities are really strange.
It's kind of like the old Carlin thing. Carlin, I'm pretty sure what Carlin has said, a person is good, people are fucked up, or something along those lines.
Right.
And I think it's like a comedian has potential. Comedians are fucking hopeless.
Right.
I think that's.
Yeah. So are you working the networking scene there? Are you making friends and kind of becoming part of a clique, a comedy clique?
Not so much. I am and always have been a bit of a lone wolf, which sort of lends itself to the comedic nature anyways, because it is everyone. You are out for yourself ultimately. I'm just a very empathetic, encouraging person. So I like encouraging people to do the right thing. But as far as myself, no, I am how to win friends and influence people kind of an idea. So I am meeting all of the right people. I just found out I am going to be doing a show at the end of the month at the biggest club here in Toronto, which is exciting. And I'm going down to New Orleans in March, and I'll be performing there at a couple of clubs.
All right,
so it's been a matter of, it's a process.
Let's talk about that. Coming to the USA,
correct?
Yes.
Coming to the USA, and I've talked to several Canadian comedians about this. Coming to the USA, you get charged like a 60% fee or some crazy thing like that on.
I can't talk to that yet. This is my first time experience going to, it'll be an amateur night in terms of I'm not getting paid for it. I'm getting 7 minutes.
Then you're good. Then you're good.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
there's no
fees. I don't have to worry about paperwork. None of that stuff. I'm not at that stage of my career yet. I'm at the getting booked on shows, just starting to get paid stage of my career.
Wow.
Now, if this may help you, because that's how it works in comedy. So if you want to get paid, don't take money for comedy. Take it for sex and drugs, because I don't think they check for that. And then that way you can get paid.
This job was a lot easier when all I had to do was take my clothes off when I got on stage.
You know, it seems like I'm being silly here, or I don't know, whatever it seems like I'm. But musicians often say, I don't get paid for performing. I get paid for getting my equipment together, getting it all set up, getting to the show. All the part on stage the part on stage is jelly. I love it. It's part of the pay for me. I wouldn't do it if there weren't stage time, but that's not where the money. That's not why I care about getting paid. I care about all the preparation and time I put into learning the material and preparing the material, perfecting it so that I could perform it well. That's what I'm getting paid for. The time actually being on stage, that's not what I'm getting paid for. So it's a
different way of looking at it.
Yeah. So
that's the reason why I hate it when I get a show canceled, because I put so much time into crafting a show that if it gets like rebooked or rescheduled, I'm like, fuck! Don't they know how much time I put into preparing for this?
They don't
think about.
They don't.
And they should pay attention to that. And from now on, that's what I'm going to do. If I get booked, I'm going to send them a letter that says, okay, I'm going to be using 72 hours to prepare for this show, and damn it, I want you to acknowledge it.
Yeah, that's part. You know, I've talked about this before, but the idea of always coming up with a new show, I think there is like the Rockin' 45s take it way too extreme, because we've been doing the same show for 25 years exactly. I mean, you come to see us, if you've seen us 100 times, you've seen the same show 100 times. But there is a lot of value in that, in being a professional, is understanding that you can't be doing a complete new hour every year like Carlin did. It's just exhausting, and it economically puts a big strain on you too. If you're going to be a professional, there's a big part of putting a show together, go out and perform it until it's run its course, rather than to have to put together a new show every single time. Mike Chavola, who has seen the Rockin' 45s 100 times, says he can predict the next song. I have no doubt that he can.
Something to be said for consistency.
Yeah. So when coming down to preparing a show, are you a prolific writer there? Do you?
Honestly, no. A lot of my are just walking around while kind of stoned moments. Seeing things that amuse me. You can find me by myself in a room with no external stimulation, just giggling randomly because of silly thoughts.
They got meds.
My mom was like that. My mom was like that in her last days. So how long do you think you have left to live?
I do have a bit about now becoming older and getting early stage dementia, things of that nature. So I had my first legit senior moment at a grocery store, looking down at a self-checkout item and thinking, what is this called? And have created a comedy bit out of it. So yeah.
So how old are you? You don't mind me asking?
He's a child.
You're too young to have a. I know. Yeah.
It was a stoner. It was a stoner moment. I wasn't actually going through early on stage dementia, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Do you lose a lot? Because I think if you're undisciplined, you lose a lot of gems that way. I was talking about that the other day. Like if you don't take note, I get funny ideas all day long, and I think, wow, that would be great. I want to share this with some comedy friends and all this kind of stuff, or create a piece for myself. Now, there are pieces where I say that's really funny, but it's not for me. It doesn't fit my personality.
Sure.
But a half hour later, if I haven't written it down, it's gone. And as hard as I try, those senior moments, like I can't remember what the fuck I was thinking that was so funny. But do you take notes? Do you do any of that?
Yes. I have notoriously. I have a very poor memory in general. Friends of mine, you know the movie Memento? You guys remember that movie?
Yeah. Oh my God.
I don't know the movie Barbie.
The person has an inability to make new memories. My friends kept telling me, Dare, you need to see this movie. And they would break into peals of laughter when they would say, so did you see the movie? And I'd say, oh, no, I forgot. I get the joke now. So, yes, as a result, I do have a thought. I'll send a text to myself, send a text to a friend. I do have a couple of notepads that I do carry around just to write down a few words, because if you don't write it down, you're right, it's gone. And I have years and years and years of comedy.
Might I make a suggestion? So one of the best things I did for myself is I downloaded a voice recorder on my phone, because I learned that even though I might write an idea down, sometimes I don't like writing that idea down. I don't capture the tone of it. You know what I mean? And you can lose the funny in losing the tone. So I would suggest putting a voice recorder on your phone and I've done it a million times. Like I'll be in a room with a group of friends, something very funny will happen or a very funny exchange, and I will go immediately to the other room, record a little bit about it, and then step back in. And it's faster than writing it down also, you know?
Right.
Great idea.
And if I may suggest, the technique I use is I just walk around with a microphone and an audience at all times. So as soon as I think of something funny, I say it into the microphone, get an audience reaction right away, so I know if it's worth writing down.
I might like to just add that the only time he doesn't have an audience is when he's on stage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Dare, I don't know anything about comedy, so don't take anything I say, as for advice. I know nothing about comedy.
You know anything about Canada? Do you know anything about Canada?
That's our southern border, correct?
Well, it's close.
We built that wall, I think.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
We built that wall.
Because there's Canada and there's Canada and there's also bottled duck.
All right, I don't want to get stuck on this, but because it's really boring and not interesting to anybody. Canada, really? How many provinces?
11?
7?
I don't know.
I know. GD, Willie, how many provinces in Canada?
I think 7.
Oh, 33.
I thought it was 7. Is it
33 provinces and 14 semi-provinces.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Not even Canadians know. I mean, not even the provinces know that they're provinces.
I did in high school.
Yeah. It's just weird. Like we all know the states. I could probably name how many countries are in the old Soviet Union, but not Canada. It's a very weird thing. Stylistically, Dare, are you a one-liner kind of guy? Are you a long story kind of guy? Are you you are?
That's kind of how I got started. I've always been a funny person telling stories for most of my life. But as I've come to understand, there's a distinct difference between just being a funny person and then being a comedian, where you have all the tags and this, like, it's like telling a joke. You can tell a joke. It's kind of cute in the middle of it, and you get the ha-ha at the very end. but a comedian will have 5 or 6 laughter points before they get to that final ha-ha, unless it's a massive ha-ha, and that's a different sort of animal.
The massive ha-ha is what I'm really interested in, because I think today, Willie got defensive for Tom Segura about this when I said this is about Tom Segura. And I'm not just singling Segura out, but I think there are a lot of people who are doing this now. They are funny storytellers or storytellers where they have ha-ha moments, but they always end it on a really small, or often ended on a really small, there's no big emphasis on how do I tie this together for a really powerful punchline at the end of the story. And I think comedy is losing something with that, because in its genesis, in the art of stand-up comedy and storytelling, that was always, there had to be a payoff. Or if you do a 5-minute bit or a 7-minute bit and it's one long story, yes, there need to be laughs in that time. But if you end on a fucking dud, you're killing the audience's payoff. That is like the orgasm. That's what you're getting paid for, and it's and too many people are just ignoring that. So, are you putting that into that consideration into preparing
100%? No, I do believe that there should be a building of some sort. That your story is a building block leading to a major point in the story or a major ha-ha. I would detest to leave it on a weak note and then just going on to a different joke. That's
my time, folks. Thank you. You've been great.
You're a basic.
Yeah.
That basically, I see. Story's ending like, that's my time, folks. Thanks. You've been great. Like, wait a minute. You just told me this whole story, and was there a point? Was there something that I was supposed to get out of that whole thing?
Yeah, the point was they had 7 minutes left
to
fill, and they just filled it. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Willie.
Well, no, so I guess I like to do both at this point. Go ahead, Wander.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Is my delay really bad again? Do you want me to leave and come back?
No, just say your point. Come on, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go, Willie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6.
Now I can't even remember what it was. I can't remember what it was.
It was about
you did it very well.
I'm going to leave and come back.
All right, go. So yeah, that whole idea now, that's a struggle for me, because I have some stories from my life that I think are humorous, but trying to figure out how do I lead this to a really impactful punchline is a challenge for me. Do you struggle with that? Do you kind of plot it out? Do you test it different?
Test it differently. I know, Genie, you were talking about having an audience everywhere you go. I often, in the middle of conversations, will sort of, unbeknownst to the people I'm talking to, do bits where I'll just bring up things that I think are funny, and I'll find out if they think it's funny. And so it's sort of my own test. It's like secret test marketing.
Did they call you on that? Because I was talking about, there's a book, comedy book, and it talks about Seinfeld doing that, always being on and testing his friends, and Elaine Boozler, who was his girlfriend, real girlfriend, Elaine in the show Seinfeld was based on her. And there's a bit, a segment of the story where she says, "Are you working on a bit?" He said, "No, we're just talking." And she said, "No, I recognize the tone of voice. You're working on a bit here." And then she started to give him some. Do your friends call you on that if you're using them in that way?
My girlfriend does. Yeah, my girlfriend does. But lucky for me, she's actually funnier than I am. So it works out very well.
Get her on the show. Get off of here. Okay.
Yeah.
Dan's girlfriend's coming on now. Here's Dan's girlfriend. So yeah, I mean that's so testing the on people. That's an interesting approach. I don't know. I feel like,
and I know when I started off in Florida, mics were so far and few between back, distance wise, and so I would work on a routine, and I would drive to like a campground or a picnic ground, or ride on my bicycle and just drive up to total strangers and engage in conversation. And then I would go into my bit for just total strangers. And then once I said, so I have to go, but thank you very much. And I ride on to the next picnic table, a group of people like that.
I do that all the time. I mean, I'm not really a social butterfly by any means. I'm not really social. You know, I'm really antisocial in a lot of social awkwardness in parties and people I know. But with strangers, I can be really like ballsy and over the top testing material on strangers all the time.
Well, I was actually a little more honest about it. When I was preparing for that comedy brawl contest or tournament, I literally would walk around the city, walk up to groups sitting down and say, hey, can I tell you guys a joke? Explain that it was for a tournament. I'm not some weirdo going, hey, can I tell you guys a joke? Can I tell you guys a joke? I explain, I'm practicing. This is for a tournament. And invariably they would say, yeah, tell us a joke. And I would practice my bits and they would laugh or not laugh as the case may be. And move on to the next group. So literally just go up to random people and, hey, you want to hear a joke and practice.
Wow.
Yeah, I never did. I never use my friends for that purpose because one thing, half the time
You don't have
my
any friends.
That is point number one, and point number two is the three that I pay to be my friends.
I was just gonna say that joke.
They automatically suspect that I'm looking to do something with the moment, and so they clam up and they stop being my friends, and they just start. I become a suspect, and they don't want to talk. They're like, I don't want to be in your bit.
Judgy.
We have to say goodbye to Govs right now.
Right.
Before we do, I want to say,
I've heard that a bunch.
Yeah. Pete Davidson is at the main Levittown location tomorrow night, testing out new material, I guess, for a upcoming special or something like that. And Mike Feeney is there this weekend. But what really just struck at me was in the Bohemia location, McGuire's, Isabel Hagen, who I've tried to get on this program for a couple of years now. Her manager has promised me she would become. She's in my neighborhood in the Bohemia, not my neighborhood, but it's the closest comedy club to me. She's there this weekend. I missed a great opportunity to get her on to promote that this weekend. She's there Friday and Saturday. Isabel Hagen at McGuire's in Bohemia, Long Island. So if you're there, check that out. Saying goodbye to Govs. Govs, have a